Well, hello, you wellness warriors. You are a warrior. If you've come back for part 3, you are a wellness warrior. Big time. Welcome to part 3 for our absolutely mind-blowing conversation with the brilliant Amelia Phillips. If you've been following along from parts 1 and 2, your brain is probably already buzzing with insights about preventative health, behaviour change, and mitochondrial optimisation. But now we're bringing it all home with what I consider the most crucial part of our health journey, understanding and measuring what truly matters. This is where my passion for root cause wellness really comes alive. You know, every single book behind me speaks to this fundamental truth. You can manage what you can't manage. You can't measure. You can't manage what you don't measure. I need to take a bit more of a proactive choice because I've dipped, because we're human, right? We dip, and I've dipped over the last 6 weeks, and I can honestly feel that slump. It's my own little science experiment, you know what I mean? Well, Amelia is about to share the exact metrics and strategies that can transform not just how you feel today, but how you age and how you handle stress and how you show up for the people you love. We're diving deep into the chronic diseases, the 4 horsemen of health that could be silently sabotaging your well-being, and the practical steps you can take right now to optimize your longevity. This isn't about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. Yeah, I just love it. Amelia's approach to functional health perfectly aligns with everything I believe about addressing the physical, mental, and emotional root causes of our struggles. This is the science-backed practical wisdom that can literally change the trajectory of your health story. Are you ready to discover the metrics that matter most? Let's dive into part 3 with the incredible Amelia Phillips. So with the last 2 horsemen then, because I really do want to talk about mitochondria before I let you go. And I know we keep pushing it. I know, poor mitochondria. It's like one of my main ones as well, but I feel like we have to lead up to it well. Cancer and Alzheimer's, preventable or not? I know we said with the gene, we've always thought it was genes. Yes, we can have these genes, but doesn't mean we have to activate these genes to become a problem, right? Is that right? Or what's your angle on that?
Before I give you my take on it, let me tell you about the most incredible trial that has been released recently, an absolute gold standard study that I think highlights how preventable cancer is. I interviewed the lead researcher on my podcast a few weeks ago. It's called the Do Health trial. And if you're interested in longevity and cancer, I highly recommend you look up this trial and maybe listen to the episode. But basically, they did 3 interventions over a 3-year period. There were 2,000, I think I always get this wrong, it's either 2,000 or 3,000 participants, but a huge study. And it was a double-blind clinical trial, which is a complete gold standard study. So 2,000 people, 3 years, double-blind clinical trial. That's basically the best of the best when it comes to studies. And they broke those 2,000 people into a whole bunch of different groups where they had these 3 interventions. And the interventions were exercise, omega-3 supplementation, and vitamin D supplementation. And so one group just exercised. One group, the placebo group, did nothing. So they got given sugar pills, they didn't know what they were taking, and they weren't exercising. So that was the placebo group. Then you've got another group that were just doing one of the 3 interventions. Anyway, all these different groups. But the group that I particularly focused on was the group that did all 3 interventions over the 3 years. Are you ready for the results?
Oh, go on.
61% reduction in invasive cancer. So over that 3, there's actually 3 results. So that's that one. 39% reduction in pre-frailty. So that's a whole bunch of markers that indicate that you're getting close to what we call frail, which is actually after heart disease, frailty-related death is the second. Don't quote me on that. Maybe, I don't know, someone's going to challenge this, but frailty is a huge cause of death now, or frailty-related injuries, and diseases. So pre-frailty was reduced by 39% and biological age was significantly reduced. But isn't that crazy that over the 3 years, compared to the placebo group who didn't do those interventions, the group that did all 3 interventions had 61% less cases of cancer?
Yeah, fascinating. I saw that on your content, 61%. I saw that figure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So just, you cannot be completely bulletproof to cancer. You might get it tomorrow and have been pulling all the right levers. But I can tell you that if you had an identical twin who was smoking, drinking, overweight, eating fast food, the chances of them developing cancer compared to you are going to jump up significantly.
Yeah.
So it can't be, you can't be guaranteed that you're not going to get it. But of course, the reduction and the likelihood, and this trial is just a perfect, literally clinical, significantly statistically proven fact that you can prevent cancer.
Yeah, wow. Does mitochondria then, maybe this is the good point to bring in, does mitochondria play a role in the functionality of the source of root cause of cancer coming about?
100%. And the reason is it is so prevalent in our body, and it is the power pack and the energy source of our body.
Yeah.
So mitochondria, so the energy that we use every day to survive, to
ATP.
Yes, ATP, exactly, is powered by our mitochondria. And so 90% of the energy that is required to keep us alive is produced in mitochondria. And so if that is not functioning well, we're going to see cells behaving badly. We're going to see our energy levels dropping down, and we're going to start to see the protective elements that our cells are supposed to do start to degrade. A fun fact about mitochondria, if you think about your heart, look at your fist right now. Your fist is pretty accurate size, example of the size of your heart. So think about that fist sitting in your chest. 40% of the weight of your heart is made up of mitochondria.
Yeah, well, I read that it was 10% of our body weight.
Yeah. It's I think that's right. But I know 40%, because mitochondria is most concentrated in the heart. Okay. Right. And that's because that beautiful heart has to never stop working. So, but it's predominantly in muscles and brain. And if you think of it a bit like batteries. Okay. And if you're someone that has a really healthy functioning mitochondria, you're someone, think of a remote control car that's got 30 AAA batteries in it, and then next to it is a remote control car that's got 4 AAA batteries in it. Okay, you can imagine from an energy perspective, if those remote control cars are going to race down the road, which one do you think is going to get there faster, last longer? So we are walking around every day, and some of us are like the fast remote control car. We've got so much mitochondria and it's just functioning really well. And then some of us are more like the other one, where our mitochondria, not only do we not have a large amount of quantity of them, but the quality of them is not good either. And so really starting to understand what promotes healthy mitochondria, and what we need to do in our life to do that is a really interesting way to approach our health.
That's how that was leading on to the next question, because that's how I now look at life. Is I want to keep my mitochondria as healthy as I possibly can. At a basic level for our listeners, if they were sat there going, well, how do I keep these things I never see and even feel healthy as optimal? Let's go optimal, not average, because that always changes. How do we keep our mitochondria superhuman, or that baseline level of where we want it to be optimal?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's 2 strategies here that there's 2 goals, I should say, and then I'll go into the strategies. So I mentioned quality and quantity. So it's a really great framework to look through. The goal is to improve both. So not only do you want to increase the quantity of mitochondria in your body, but you also want to increase the quality. And both naturally decline with age. but there is a lot that we can do. So unlike a remote control car that comes already pre-programmed, there's only so many batteries you can put in. We can actually add more battery packs. And guess what? Guess what? Adds battery packs to our body, comes back to exercise.
Love it.
And we can literally, and no matter what age we're at, we can literally add more mitochondria to our body. And, you know, ways to do that, obviously exercise is the main way, because and the reason is that mitochondria is in such a high concentration in our muscles. So if we're laying down more muscle tissue, then we're going to be laying down more healthy mitochondria. And so cardiovascular activity is key for this. And zone 2 cardio, so that's that more steady state heart rate between kind of 60 to 70% of your max. So it's really where you're able to talk, but only just. If you're out for a walk with your friend and you're talking like you and I are now, you're not at zone 2, you might be zone 1. But if you're talking, but you're kind of talking like this and then you have to wait because you've got to catch your breath, that's probably good. And then if you completely can't talk at all because you're just running so fast, you're up in zone 3, 4, or 5, which is more VO2 max training, which is also great for mitochondria as well. But the zone 2 is particularly important, and strength training is fantastic for it as well.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to increase the quantity. Then as far as quality, stress management is a key part of that. Sleep is a key part of that. And then, you know, healthy nutrition is a key part of that as well. But then interestingly, on the quality of your mitochondria, there's 2 elements of mitochondria that I think it's important for us to understand, and not everyone does. It does 2 things. It does, first of all, something called biogenesis, and then it does something called mitotophagy. Okay, so it's called mitobiogenesis. So that's the healthy energy production of mitochondria, and that's what gives us our energy. But the mitotophagy, I can't even say it now, is what actually clears out the bad batteries. And autophagy, you've probably heard of, which is where the cells basically recycle themselves, they clear out the waste. So mitochondria do that as well. And so it's really important not only to understand that they create that energy, but healthy functioning mitochondria will also clear out. It's like taking the rusted batteries out and actually removing them from the battery pack. And interestingly, fasting is one of the best ways to trigger that.
And I think that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's predominantly why I got into that, because when I researched that, and then the benefits of how I felt after that, and it also encouraged me more to eat that when I was going to eat, to actually eat the nutrients my body needed and wanted, and I started to actually enjoy that. Then it's just started an uphill challenge, but in a good way, not let's reach for the sugar because I'm done with that. I was really motivated. It kept me disciplined. It kept me motivated. I just started to fall in love with my self-reflection and how I felt. And then when I did have a movie night and I enjoyed my chocolate, as Paul Taylor said, enjoy yourself when you do. And I did. And then on the Saturday, it's like a hangover of having alcohol back in the day. I would feel shit the next day, even though I enjoyed my chocolate and even though I enjoyed my movie night with my family. I actually my ankylosing spondylitis started to flare up again, and this inflammation started to appear, and then when I stopped doing it, I just started to fall in love. And some people would say, well, you got to enjoy yourself. I'm like, yeah, but I actually enjoy myself, feeling great. That's what I'm in love with now, not but I'm back in I'm back in the shit, having chocolate. But I'll get back into it because you've really motivated me to do that as well. If I wanted to destroy my mitochondria, then very quickly, how would I destroy it? How would I ruin it?
You stop moving. Sit in a desk and get less than 5,000 steps a day, and don't exercise. And then chronically deprive yourself of, it doesn't have to be much, but mild to moderate sleep deprivation chronically. So 6 hours of sleep a night on a regular basis. And then throw in some binge drinking, some cigs, and
McDonald's.
poor nutrition. So not antioxidants. That's how you very quickly deplete your mitochondria. But a little bit like the delta phosphate and the dopamine and the screens at the start of the episode, the good news story is here you can always reverse that. And exercise is the key. If you're sitting here going, Amelia, that's no bloody use because I already exercise and I'm already pulling these good levers, then you can start to look at some of the more anti-inflammatory and antioxidant approaches through supplementation that can really, really help. So very, very novel but exciting research is around urolithin A, which is, I know it sounds like it belongs in a power plant or
Yeah, I was going to say.
some crazy power plant, but urolithin A as a supplement is gaining a lot of attention at the moment. So if you're already pulling all those great levers, then looking to supplement with that omega-3, vitamin D, all these antioxidant based supplements are showing a very protective element for mitochondria. But what I do say, when I start to talk about supplements, lots of people prick their ears and they're like, great. And then they get off the podcast and they start researching their supplements, but they're still not exercising.
Yeah.
And
Pointless.
I just have to say, I know it's so much easier to go to the shopping cart and buy all these supplements and start taking them. But I would much rather you be spending that time doing whatever you need to do to be exercising regularly, because that's always going to outdo the supplements.
Yeah.
So I love talking about supplements, and targeted supplementation makes a huge difference to health, but not without those foundational elements, which is healthy nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management.
Yeah, it's easy to feel good knowing that you've got these beautiful bottles of supplements in front of you. It's psychologically benefiting, is it? You think, oh, well, I must be doing the right thing because they're supplements. But it's even things like the methylated versions of certain vitamins as well, isn't it? If your body can't methylate it, that process has to be done for you. So you have to go and buy the methylated version, not just the standard B12, for example. Does that make sense? Am I right on that one?
Yeah, but interestingly, a lot of us start to get our knickers in a knot about, the types of supplement, as far as, is it liposomal? When do I take it? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What was really refreshing when I interviewed the lead researcher from the Do Health trial, and I asked her about what was the strict protocol around all the supplements. Well, number one, they use an algae-based omega-3, which is very unusual. Most of us are using a fish oil-based one purely because the uptake is meant to be so much better. They used it because it was a double-blind trial. They couldn't have a fishy taste because then the group would know that they were having a fish oil. And they were just taking a tablet in the morning. Same with vitamin D. I was like, were you having it, telling them to eat it with fat, because it's fat soluble? No, they all had to take it the same way to make the trial truly double blind. And so I was quite buoyed and humoured and relieved to hear how actually simple the supplementing was, even without all the fancy stuff that we hear about today. So don't get too concerned about all that.
Okay. I'll pull myself back on that one. Amelia Phillips told me right here on Leading Our Own Way.
Yeah.
Before I let you go then, I've been jumping on the bandwagon of nitric oxide.
Yes.
This one's for me. Everyone else is probably going, what the fuck are we talking about here? Nitric oxide, what is it and why is it important, or does it have a relationship with mitochondria?
Okay, so I am not an expert. So those of you that are experts on nitric oxide, as far as please, feel free to jump in. But I'm going to tell. So it is a molecule that's present particularly in dark purple fruits and vegetables. So think beetroot is where it's really, really prevalent in, but also plums, anything that's kind of dark and purpley, or blueberries, things like that. What it does is it helps with the uptake of oxygen in the bloodstream. And the research behind it is extremely exciting and quite powerful. So it basically helps our bodies utilize oxygen as best as it can. So if you've got someone who's very rich, has a diet very rich in nitric oxide, and maybe they're twin and they're doing the same activity, that person is going to be able to get more out of the amount of oxygen that's in their body than the other person. So I use it in my athletes a lot. Two of my kids are quite competitive athletes. So Charlotte's a competitive gymnast and Lockie's a competitive basketballer.
I should show you children whilst we're here. By the way.
There
Is that
they
all right?
are.
By the way,
Yes, of course, of course.
I just shoved it there.
So for those that are on video, you can see Lockie's in the middle, the tall one. He's my 12-year-old. Charlotte's on the right is 10. And then Angus on the far left is 9 and Ella is 7. And
Beautiful.
They're
Beautiful
just
family.
gorgeous. I love them.
Of course.
And so I will make sure that those kids are having purples as much as possible.
Purple broccoli?
Pardon?
Purple broccoli as well?
Oh, we don't. Oh, that's way too fancy and posh for where we are. Oh, my
very
goodness.
good for you.
Yes, if you can get purple broccoli, purple carrots, amazing. But particularly when they've got competitions coming up or there's a lot of, I feel like they're quite fatigued and there might be a lot of cellular repair that needs to happen. For example, like preparing beetroot can be so annoying because, you've got to peel it, you've got to roast it, or you might have to grate it. But you can now buy these baby beets that are cooked and peeled and then vacuum sealed. And I actually researched those to find out how much degradation of nitric oxide there was. And although there is a small amount, I still use those a lot because if I've got those, number one, they keep in the fridge for ages. And number two, they're so easy. My kids will literally just pick them up raw, well, they're cooked, but just pick them up out of that packet and eat them straight away. If I'm making a salad, then I'll just takes 2 seconds to chop one up because it's already cooked. So that's a great way to get more beetroot in.
Yeah, wow. And does nitric oxide play a part in the reproduction of mitochondria as well?
Yes. So anything that's antioxidant, so anything that's anti-inflammatory and that is essentially fighting off free radicals is going to be really supportive of mitochondria. Because mitochondria, they live inside every single cell in the body. They're very delicate little organisms. So if there is a lot of damage happening in a cell, so free radical, think of it like a squash ball in a a white squash court. Think of free radicals like the black squash ball that you hit it and it bounces around and it leaves those black marks on the squash court. Think of that as little burn marks. Think of that as free radicals flying around damaging cells. And so antioxidants would be like a butterfly net in the squash court with 1,000 of those balls flying around. You're capturing all those balls and you're stopping them damaging the cell. And so obviously in a cell, mitochondria will get damaged by free radicals. So anything that is reducing inflammation and that is an antioxidant will help with your mitochondria.
What a great image I've got in my head I can use going forward. I'm going to use that with the kids.
The squash court image.
Yeah. My dad played squash. I remember playing with him when I was young.
Yeah, I love that. I still got that sound, that reverberating sound of the squeaks and the balls flying around.
Love that. Yeah, no, I for me with this, as the non-educated, qualified person, I feel like if we just look after our nitric oxide, means if we do everything else we've mentioned today in the episode and look after our mitochondria, we'll be just superhuman, well, compared to the rest of the folk anyway.
Yeah. So with you, can I talk about you for a second?
Oh no, I'm scared.
I would like you to go and get a DEXA scan. Have you had one done?
Tell me why first.
Because I want to understand, we spoke about the physical before. I want to understand how muscled you are. Because obviously I haven't met you in person and you haven't stripped off for me. But looking at you now, you don't strike me as a super muscly gym bro. You want to take your shirt off and give me a flex? Or
I can show you a picture.
Sure.
I was when I went through my stuff, I went through a bit of a tough time, and when I had my surgery with my gallbladder removal, I was in a bit of a dark, gut hanging over and things like that. But then when I went on a bit of a journey, let me see if I can find it for you here.
The reason why I would like you to have a DEXA scan, number one, I think everyone that's interested in health and longevity should have a DEXA scan. I actually think they
Yes.
should have two. They get the body composition DEXA scan, which will tell you how much of you is fat and muscle. But
Yeah.
then the same machine calibrated differently will then give you your bone density. So I would like you, it costs about 120 to 150 bucks, and you have to ask for both tests because they calibrated differently. I would like you to get that once a year anyway as a preventative, but I just want to understand I want to know your bone density. I think you don't have an issue with body fat, but I would be curious to know about your muscle mass. I have a feeling you may possibly be under-muscled.
I think I am right now for sure, but that's where I was about, if I go back, I can get myself back to that in probably 3 weeks if I did.
And so that looks super fit and healthy to me. Looks great. So are you near that now, or are you a little bit less muscled?
I'm definitely less at the moment. I weighed myself yesterday. I'm at 74.
Right.
I was normally around 80.
Right.
I'm at 74 right now. But 75 I probably was, 75 and a half. I took my dog to the vet and I weighed myself on that thing there. So I can get myself back to that pretty quick. When I get strict and I eat well and I do the right thing day by day, I know I can get back to that. I'm not there right now. I'm definitely dipped for sure. So I understand your viewpoint. I agree with you.
So the reason why I say that, because I know you're saying you're fasting for 19 hours.
Yeah.
So one thing I would just be careful of is that that's not at a cost of your beautiful mitochondria rich active muscle tissue.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to live a long and healthy life, my recommendations for you would be get your DEXA scan once a year. If the bone density, and get the bone density done once when you're in your 40s. If it comes back beautiful and you've got healthy bone density, no osteopenia and no osteoporosis, don't get it done for another 10 years. If it's kind of not that great, then you might get it done every 5 years. If it's really bad, you're going to have to get it done yearly.
So DEXA scan once a year.
DEXA scan for body composition once a year. And that will tell you your fat and muscle. And then bone density once, and then depending on the result, 10 years, 5 years, yearly, depending on how good or bad it is. I would do a preventative blood screen. So you could, more than happy for you to do our inner vitality test. If it comes back, everything's optimal and perfect, you haven't wasted your money. What you're looking at there is a beautiful benchmark. And then you might retest once a year. If you've got a whole bunch of stuff out of range, our members will test anywhere from once a year to 4 times a year, depending on what their results. But it will tell you if you're inflamed. It will tell you if you've got metabolic issues, if you've got cardiovascular, the beginnings of cardiovascular issues, and also nutrient deficiencies as well. And then I would be measuring at some point your fitness level. So if you wear a wearable, then in the health app, it will give you a VO2 max estimation. So I would make sure that's in the top 2 categories, or kind of on the upper side of average or higher. And that's what that's the understanding your body better. That's the great benchmark, because then you can start to balance all this stuff out, because you're like, oh, I am under muscled. Okay, maybe fasting's not right for me, or that, because that's a significant, like a 12-hour fast is great and fine. But if you're getting that longer, I just want to make sure it's not at a cost of that beautiful mitochondria producing muscle.
No, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't know that, and that's fascinating. And look, I'll be brutally honest, since the school holidays, and probably 2 weeks before the school holidays, we had a lot of birthdays and stuff, so that fasting hasn't happened as strict as it was maybe a month and a half ago. The school holidays mess me up, and at the weekends I tend to, I don't follow the same protocol in the week than I do at the weekends, because my structure is obviously a bit different. Sometimes I actually don't eat at lunchtime in the weekends because I'm busy and I'm out, and I don't get lunchtime like when I do at school. I get a set lunchtime. But then at night I'm working on the podcast, and I don't eat in the dark, and the breakfast, just things in the morning, I just never seem hungry. And that's probably why the 19 hours, I suppose it accidentally happened. It wasn't even conscious really. And then it became conscious, and I started to think about it. I was like, well, actually I feel great. So maybe I'll have to look at it a little bit deeper, understanding.
It's more if you get that red flag where you're actually seeing that either you've got declining muscle or it's not great. We do have to look after our muscle a little bit more carefully over the age of 40, where it can sometimes be, you can fast for 19 hours, but you might just have a protein shake in the morning. I'll make sure, for example, I only eat 2 meals a day, and then I have a very late breakfast. And then I have a pretty early dinner, and I might just have a snack in the afternoon. But because I train in the morning, I'll always have a protein shake within 40 minutes of training. And that has made a huge difference, like physically as well. It's made a huge difference to my body fat and muscle ratio. So there's lots you can do, but it is that kind of strategy I just gave you is a great one for your listeners as well, to go, okay, well, how do I, because you think you're doing something really healthy over here, such as a really long fast, and you're not, and you're getting all these great health benefits, but then you wake up one day and say, shit, I've just lost 5 kilos of muscle tissue. Is not good. You don't want to do that.
So true. So if I wanted to come and get a test at with your business, how much would that, what did you say it was? What do you actually call it? What's the official name?
Inner Vitality is our flagship program. We run a whole bunch of different programs. So our platform is called Vitality 360. And then as part of that, we run all these different programs, but most of our members come in on Inner Vitality, which is an 8-week biomarker program. You start with a blood test, and then over the 8 weeks, we educate you. We deep dive into a key system and the markers that relate to that system, such as metabolic health, thyroid health, nutrient deficiencies, inflammation, etc. We deep dive in our educational videos. Some of them are pre-recorded, and then some of them we jump on all together live, and they're really fun. The chat box goes crazy. And then we have our nutrition plan, exercise plan, and weekly activities. Some of our members are 100% diligent. They follow the meal plan 100%. Others, dip in and out, and are more about the education. So it's a bit of a choose your own adventure depending on what your personality type's like. And we can pop a link in the show notes for those that want to find out more. Absolutely. And also follow me on Instagram, because I give lots of free education on Instagram, and I also have a fortnightly newsletter where I do lots of great education on that as well.
Beautiful. Well, I will put everything in the show notes for you, Amelia. So everyone, please contact her wherever you are in the world. You don't mind if people wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning from the UK, do you?
Not at all. We have lots of UK members. In fact, we were running UK-specific Inner Vitalities, where we found our pathology partner over there. We've got all the supplements over there. So we're actually very set up to support the UK. It's just occasionally I'll be turning up in my singlet and, my tan when you guys are all covered up in your winter woolies. And off some of the biomarkers, the metrics are a little bit different, but apart from that, it's perfectly fine.
Well, that would be interesting actually to see those differences in biometrics based on where they are in the world. Yeah, definitely. Fascinating. Those blue zones that Peter spoke about.
Yeah, I know.
Is there anything that you think, before I ask my 3 final questions, is there anything that you think we've missed from your journey that is worth sharing, or that the people should know about you?
No, I think you've done a really lovely job of allowing me to share some stories and to kind of weave the red thread. It's been really enjoyable to think about some of the key moments in my life that have shaped where I am today. But I have definitely felt lucky to have known from an extremely young age, probably that girl in the primary school with her hand on the lamb's heart, knowing that I've just had my path probably from that point onwards. And it's been a privilege thinking about how that's all shaped where I am today. But I felt more excited than ever. I never thought, 12WBT was such a remarkable 10 years. I didn't think that I could top that from a career perspective, but I'm more excited now with the access to these new innovative technologies and partnering with Dr. Yasmina, my business partner, integrative GP, because she's a freak of nature as far as her intelligence and her knowledge and her experience. So I'm more excited now than I ever have been, which is
to get her on the
amazing.
Show. We'll have to get her on the show, leading our own way.
Yeah, she is amazing. Refugee. Oh my gosh, I won't give you the spoiler alerts, but refugee, came to Australia, top to class in the HSC after being here for 9 months, and then went on to do medicine in emergency because of what she saw in her war-torn country, and then she saw so many heart attacks and so many lifestyle-related diseases playing out tragically and traumatically in the emergency room that she said, I need to go further upstream. So I'm going to become a general practitioner and try to help prevent people getting to that operating table after a heart attack. And then she was a GP, and then she said, I've got to go further upstream and do lifestyle medicine because these medications I'm prescribing aren't doing enough.
Wow. Yeah, mate, you got to ask her. Ask her. Sounds amazing. Love it.
She'll come on. I'll get her on.
Will she?
Yeah, I'll twist her arm.
And then we'll have a three-way conversation. That would be fantastic down the track.
Oh my gosh. Don't get the three of us together. It'll be like 10 episodes in one because you can't shut us up.
No, I love that. So future plans for you then, because, just because we're here talking about all these incredible things and you found your way, you're leading your own way in a beautiful way, but it doesn't end here. And I know you've just mentioned a little bit about where you're going with that, but what future plans do you see happening way down the track as well?
Well, in the not so distant future, you will be talking to a published author. Yasmina and I had just got an email, literally, I think this might be the first time I've announced it publicly, that we've just been given a book deal with Pan Macmillan. So we are so excited. So that's down the path, but it does take a long time to get a book published. We look at their timelines, we're like, oh my goodness.
Congratulations,
but
though.
Try to fast track that because we've already written a lot of the book. So that's...
Can I have a copy?
100%. Well, I'm gonna, of course, have to come back on, aren't I?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You won't be able to get rid of me now, Amelia.
Yeah. It's in the peri and menopause space. I can't say too much because it's a very unique angle on it, but that's really, really exciting. And look, we've got so many more programs that we are desperate to launch as part of Vitality 360. For example, we're experimenting with an amazing hormone tracking program at the moment for peri and menopause. We've also got an amazing gut health one that's almost ready to go. So it's just a delicate balance between, the business growing and us putting all these new projects in. So this is it for me. This platform is everything, and I can see how much we've had 1,000 people through so far, and we're obviously wanting that to keep on growing. And so if this could be my lifetime's work for the next 50 years, and I keep saying to my daughter Charlotte, who wants to be a surgeon, I'm like, well, I think you should take over this business because I think you'll be great at it. So yeah, I think I've found my happy place for the future.
Amazing. Love that. Well, if you could, you've given so much piece of advice, I don't know, but if you could give one piece of advice for everyone to live optimally, and I feel like you've already done it, but what piece of advice could you give just to end us on, do you think?
I would say you've got to measure it to manage it. And I know that might sound a bit dry because I probably could have said something super inspirational and lead a life with passion and purpose and all of that. And I agree with all of that as well. But just given the type of conversation we've had today, I can't stress how important it is to measure it to manage it. And that covers everything from even your pre-screening, getting your breast screen done, getting, your bowel cancer screening done on time, your yearly skin check, to then these more preventable, proactive tests. And there's just a handful of them. It's not like you have to go out of your own way, but we all know we've got to go to the dentist once a year. Most of us are pretty good with our skin checks. There's just a couple of others on there that if you just measure these things and keep an eye on them and then make those changes, then you're not flying blind anymore. So I'm gonna leave us with that.
That is inspirational, and it's so important. You're so right. I know that from just one of my friends in the UK that I'm thinking about, and she's just done a post not long ago about, because they've upped the age in England, or the period of time from 3 years to 5 years to get your ovaries checked. I think ovaries checked. What do you call it? What
cervical screen?
Cervical screen, sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know. I was talking about ovaries checked.
No,
but
it's
went from
kind of in the right vicinity anyway.
Yeah. 3 to 5 years, and she wants it back. She
Yeah.
doesn't want it to change, and I thought that was
Yeah.
fascinating. So yeah, I agree with that completely. Your purpose is very clear, but I don't even remember from our pre-chat. I always ask the guests to put what their purpose is into just one powerful line to end the episode.
Oh, I didn't prepare for that. Oh my goodness. Well, I can tell you.
Yes, I put Amelia Phillips, who's on national TV all the time,
On
under.
the spot. Oh my goodness. I can tell you that my values are health, connection, and purpose. And I've done a lot of work to really hone in on those. And so health, connection, and purpose. So my purpose is honestly around connecting with people to optimize their health. And I do all of those things in combination as well as individually as well. So, for example, health, that's why I like to walk my talk and do all the things that I talk about. Connection, I just love connecting with people. This conversation has just been, so rewarding and enjoyable for me. And the more I can connect better with people, then the more I can pass on that health education, inspiration, and then that feeds into my powerful purpose, which is, a health saved me. I gave you a small example of that, how the gym saved me, but I have seen it time and time again on a small scale and a large scale, how small changes in your health, both physical, physiological, and psychological, how that improves your life. And so, it's definitely a value of mine that will never go away.
Love it. Thank you so much. You could become a resident guest on Leading Our Own Way. I love it.
Don't
Absolutely
tempt me.
No, I will. Of course I will. Anything to help the podcast as well and help people, right? That's really what it's all about. Is, and I know people will be able to go away and just put something into their life today, whether it is a change of trajectory or a crisis or just something small. And if it helps them prevent going down a certain track, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, and so on. Oh, I just love it. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Amelia, for joining me on Leading Our Own Way. It's been such an honor. I've loved meeting you, and now you're stuck with me.
Likewise, Andy. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really special.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Well, to everybody else who's been listening, please, I hope you've taken something away today. It's been absolutely incredible. But remember, you're all leading your own way in your own sort of way. So keep leading your own way. From Amelia and myself, have a great week, have a great weekend, and come back next week for another amazing guest and an amazing journey. Take care and bye for now. What an absolutely phenomenal journey we've been on with Amelia Phillips this week. I'm devastated, actually, that it's over. From preventative health to mitochondrial optimisation to the metrics that can transform your life, this conversation has been everything I hoped for and more. This is exactly why I'm so passionate about sharing these stories. When we understand the root causes, whether they're physical, mental, or emotional, we can finally take control of our health destiny. Amelia's wisdom isn't just theory, it's practical. It's actionable. It's actionable science that you can implement starting today. Really. If this conversation has inspired you as it has much for me, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave us a review, hit the subscribe and follow button wherever you're listening, and most importantly, start measuring what matters in your own health journey. Thank you for joining us on Leading Our Own Way. Thanks to Amelia as well for giving up the time to come on. It's amazing and just such an honour. Remember, your health is your greatest asset. Invest in it wisely. Until next time, keep leading your own way, you absolutely amazing people. We'll see you next week for another amazing guest, another amazing journey. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Keep leading your own way. Thanks for listening and watching Leading Our Own Way. So we can stay together forever and share more incredible journeys, please subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss next week's episode and what that amazing guest has to offer to the world. Please support Leading Our Own Way, and we'll get you on next week's episode.